formed as Asheville's iconic Biltmore estate battles extensive storm damage with no immediate reopening date. Recently, Melania Trump joined former Republican First Ladies in advocating for abortion rights, contrasting with her husband Donald Trump's anti-abortion achievements. More than 40 individuals were apprehended in what was one of the Department of Justice's largest operations against a neo-Nazi group. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that Israel is currently engaged in conflict on 7 fronts, addressing escalating regional tensions. Stay informed as Vice President Kamala Harris navigates complex Middle East issues amid increasing domestic pressure. This article highlights the evolving challenges Harris faces concerning her stance on the Middle East, a crucial topic for Arab American voters. In a recent meeting in Flint, Michigan, Vice President Kamala Harris faced calls from Arab American leaders to distance herself from President Biden's Israel policy, emphasizing the need for a clear strategy on Gaza and Lebanon. With tensions rising in the Middle East, these leaders, including Wael al-Zayat of Engage Action, urged Harris to adopt a different approach. Despite her current limitations as vice president, Harris expressed her commitment to peace efforts and promised greater inclusion of Arab American voices. She acknowledged the humanitarian crisis, especially in Lebanon, and the importance of a diplomatic solution. This dialogue comes amid the backdrop of Michigan's pivotal electoral role and the powerful influence of Arab American communities. However, some activists remain skeptical of the administration's intentions, urging more decisive action. Stay actively engaged with developments on U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, as it holds significant implications for both regional stability and domestic political landscapes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that Israel is currently engaged in conflict on 7 fronts, addressing escalating regional tensions. This development is critical as it highlights the increasing complexities in the Middle East, with implications for global peace and security. According to Netanyahu, Israel is defending itself against Iranian-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, Houthis in Yemen, and various Shiite militias in Iraq, Syria, and the West Bank. Additionally, Iran is accused of directly targeting Israel with over 200 ballistic missiles, marking a significant escalation in hostilities. Israel, in turn, has engaged in approximately 9,000 attacks in Lebanon since October 8th, while Hezbollah has launched around 1,500 in response. In Gaza, at least 41,925 people have been killed over the past year, according to local health authorities, and 101 hostages remain a priority for Israel. Netanyahu criticized calls for arms embargoes by leaders such as French President Emmanuel Macron. Stay informed on these developments, as understanding the dynamics in this region is crucial for comprehending broader geopolitical shifts and their impact on global security. Stay informed as Asheville's iconic Biltmore estate battles extensive storm damage with no immediate reopening date. This article highlights the widespread impact of Hurricane Helene on western North Carolina and its beloved landmarks, underlining the storm's severe consequences. The historic 8,000-acre Biltmore estate in Asheville, North Carolina, sustained significant damage from Tropical Storm Helene, with extensive flooding affecting low-lying areas like the entrance and farm. While the Biltmore house and other key structures remained largely undamaged, at least 72 people have lost their lives in Buncombe County, and about 78,000 homes and businesses remain without power. The electricity substation serving Biltmore Village suffered catastrophic damage and will take months to repair. A mobile substation is being deployed to restore power in the meantime, as Greater Asheville grapples with long-term power shortages. Stay up to date with ongoing restoration efforts and reopening updates for Biltmore Estate by following official announcements, and support regional recovery initiatives to help those affected by Hurricane Helene. Stay ahead of the electoral curve by understanding Trump's latest strategic move in the 2024 presidential campaign. This article sheds light on the unconventional tactics employed by Trump's campaign, highlighting a shift in traditional presidential race strategies. Donald Trump's 2024 campaign is bypassing traditional methods, opting instead to court low-propensity voters across battleground states like Michigan. Supported by a partnership with Elon Musk's America Pias and collaboration with Turning Point Action, The campaign is targeting non-voting conservatives through apps and focused community engagement. The effort encompasses litigation against voter registration efforts in some areas and the education of poll watchers. The strategy has faced skepticism among GOP strategists, who doubt its efficacy in swaying swing voters. They argue that focusing purely on irregular voters might not yield the necessary support in key regions. To understand how political landscapes are evolving and potentially impacting the upcoming election, readers should closely monitor the developments of these unconventional tactics and consider their implications on future voting patterns. Stay informed with our comprehensive report on one of the deadliest attacks in Burkina Faso's recent history. This article highlights the escalation of violence by jihadist militants in Burkina Faso, underscoring the growing instability in the Sahel region. In an August massacre, suspected militants from Jama'at Nusrat al-Islam wal-Muslimin, JNIM, linked to al-Qaeda, killed up to 600 civilians in Barcelona, Burkina Faso, according to a French security assessment. The victims were mostly women and children, shot as they dug defensive trenches around the town. This attack marks one of the deadliest in Africa in decades, surpassing earlier death toll estimates and highlighting the inability of local and international forces to curb jihadist advances. The deteriorating security situation follows the exit of French and American troops and the arrival of Russian mercenaries, who seem ineffective in restoring order. Tensions rise amid local military failures and reports of indiscipline. Stay updated on regional developments, as understanding the unfolding situation can empower you to advocate for peace and support global stabilization efforts. In an unexpected twist resonating through the political tech landscape, Melania Trump leverages modern platforms to voice her pro-choice stance. This development is significant as it highlights a rare divergence within political partnerships, which may influence key voting demographics. Recently, Melania Trump joined former Republican First Ladies in advocating for abortion rights, contrasting with her husband Donald Trump's anti-abortion achievements. In a promotional video for her forthcoming memoir, Melania articulated her belief in women's individual freedom and criticized governmental intervention in reproductive choices. This comes as an excerpt of her book underscores her support for women's autonomy in reproductive matters. Historically, figures like Betty Ford and Nancy Reagan quietly supported legal abortion, setting a precedent within the GOP. The timing of Melania's statements has spurred speculation about potential political motives as the 2024 election looms, with abortion access a pivotal issue. Despite differing interpretations, this stance adds complexity to Donald Trump's fluctuating views on abortion and could impact the electoral landscape. Stay informed and engage with these pivotal discussions as the implications of Melania Trump's stance continue to unfold in the lead-up to the 2024 elections. Law enforcement leverages advanced technology to dismantle a notorious neo-Nazi gang in Los Angeles. This article highlights the significant strides being made in using technology and collaboration to combat hate-fueled criminal organizations. In a major crackdown announced by federal prosecutors, 68 suspected members and associates of the Peckerwoods gang, with ties to white supremacy, were charged in Los Angeles. The charges include racketeering, firearms trafficking, drug trafficking, and financial fraud. More than 40 individuals were apprehended in what was one of the Department of Justice's largest operations against a neo-Nazi group. The Peckerwoods gang, linked to the Aryan Brotherhood, operates in the San Fernando Valley and engages in diverse criminal activities. Their affiliation allows them to conduct crimes outside while supporting incarcerated gang members. Significant evidence, including illegal firearms, bomb components, and substantial quantities of drugs, was seized during the investigation. Stay informed and vigilant against extremist ideologies and support initiatives that seek to eradicate hate-driven violence in communities. The catastrophic flooding caused by Hurricane Helene has devastated a Tennessee plastics plant, leading to significant loss of life and sparking controversy over employee safety. This article highlights the potential ramifications of inadequate workplace safety measures during extreme weather conditions, raising questions about employer accountability. Hurricane Helene has wreaked havoc across 6 states, claiming over 200 lives, including 11 workers at Impact Plastics in Irwin, Tennessee. The victims were swept away by floodwaters as they attempted to leave the plant, with suspicions arising about whether staff were wrongfully instructed to remain at work despite warnings. Impact Plastics refutes these claims, asserting that employees were permitted to leave well before the flood's peak. Nevertheless, discrepancies between employee testimonies and the company's statements have led to dual investigations by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Amidst the tragedy, families and colleagues mourn the loss of loved ones and demand clarity on the events leading to this disaster. Readers are encouraged to stay informed on workplace safety protocols and hold employers accountable during severe weather events to prevent future tragedies. In a strategic move reminiscent of tech partnerships, the U.S. and South Korea have solidified a new cost-sharing agreement to maintain a pivotal military alliance. The U.S. and South Korea have negotiated a tentative 5-year cost-sharing agreement for U.S. forces stationed in South Korea, set to begin in 2026. South Korea will increase its contribution by 8.3%, totaling approximately $1.13 billion. This proactive deal aims to bolster the alliance and preempt complications that might arise if former President Trump, known for demanding higher contributions from South Korea, returns to power. The agreement follows 8 rounds of negotiations and requires approval from South Korea's National Assembly. Notably, such alliances are deemed essential for deterring threats from North Korea and balancing China's regional influence. Stay informed about geopolitical agreements like this, which can influence global tech markets, and consider potential impacts on cybersecurity and defense technology sectors. Allegations of fraud and mismanagement during Governor Tim Walz's tenure have sparked debate and criticism in Minnesota. This article sheds light on the state's accountability challenges, especially as Walz is now a Democratic candidate for vice president. A series of state audits have criticized Minnesota state agencies under Governor Tim Walz for failing to address episodes of waste, fraud, and mismanagement. Notable instances include the disbursement of pandemic bonus checks to ineligible recipients, conflicts of interest in mental health programs, and lax oversight of a meal program for needy kids, resulting in the nation's largest COVID-era fraud scheme. The state's auditor, Judy Randall, noted a defensive response from Walz-appointed agencies, and no personnel changes have occurred since Walz took office in 2019. Criticism, mostly from Republicans, focuses on Walz's perceived lack of accountability and the culture of unaccountability in state governance. While Walz maintains his administration's commitment to transparency and fraud reduction, concerns remain about systemic issues under one-party rule and the governor's leadership style. Stay informed about government accountability and demand transparent, responsible governance to ensure public programs serve their intended purpose.